Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Screen Scene Guru, and today we'll have a lot of movie and television news to discuss and get into. So let's get started. I've got quite a bit of notes to catch up on, but first of all, I do want to mention we've got new trailers that dropped today. We've got a Fallout Season 2 trailer that dropped, as well as a Monarch Season 2, which is really exciting news. Let me get into some of the news real quick. Starting off with, of course, let's see. Sydney Sweeney's Christie movie is bombing at the box office, not doing too well. This on the heels of Ruby Rose giving her a bit of a harsh talking to on social media, saying she wasn't the right actress to pick for the biopic role. We also got to see James Gunn says he's got plans for a V for Vendetta series coming out from HBO Max. This is also on the heels of him announcing a Jimmy Olsen series for HBO Max, but we don't know what the timeline is for the release of these series. They're just in development right now. So let's go on from there. Francis Ford Coppola was forced to sell his private island recently to make up for the demand of the Megalopolis flop. We also got the Toy Story 5 teaser trailer hit online, as well as a poster, which I believe they first started advertising this in April at CinemaCon, but really excited to see that we got our first look at what the story is going to be. Woody's back. Dune Prophecy Season 2 is greenlit for HBO Max. It has been shooting. It's now in production. I was one of the fans really curious to see if they would do a Season 2. I'm a big fan of Max-produced stuff. I do have the first season on DVD. I'm definitely going to check it out because I'm a big Dune fan. I did discuss in my other previous YouTube videos, I did a review on 911 and 911 Nashville, but I do want to hype it up because it's a really good show, well made, very big budget, it looks like. Avatar The Last Airbender, third and final season is wrapped filming for Netflix. So the cast of Avatar The Last Airbender took to social media and made a group post, announcing that they are officially done filming it. We don't know exactly when we're going to be getting Season 2. I watched the first season and it was really good. True adaptation to the story, the anime. Dune 3 has also finished its filming, so Dune 3 is done. Alien Earth got renewed for a Season 2. Really good news, guys, because I was wondering, with the news of Sigourney Weaver meeting with the cast and crew from New York Comic Con, it does look like she threw her weight in the ring to get them a Season 2. The next entry in the Alien universe, we did hear that Sigourney Weaver will be returning to play Ripley. We're not exactly sure who's going to write the story. She supposedly read a couple of pages from a playwright, but he's not attached to do anything with Ridley Scott. So we are wondering what's going on with that. Doomsday, there's supposed to be a trailer that drops before Avatar Fire and Ash, so that's very interesting news. CCXP in Brazil, which is basically like their Comic-Con in Brazil. It's going to be happening December 4th through December 7th. And we're going to be getting our first promo, new images possibly of Supergirl. We already got our official poster, but we're hopefully going to get a lot more in December. Jumanji 3. So I do want to talk about, this is the fourth Jumanji film, technically, but it's the third of The Rock, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan. So I'm just calling it Jumanji 3, but some places are calling it 4. It's going to be the last one of their movies, which I'm kind of sad to hear, but apparently they've been doing good for years, and they've been making movies, so this is the third one in the trilogy. 13 Ghosts, which was a really good movie back in the day, is now being adapted to be a series, of course. 13 episodes. Why not? Directed by Steve Beck, who did the movie. So very interesting stuff here to see the movie director come back to produce the show. I'm wondering if this is going to happen more and more in Hollywood, or maybe they'll get less and less. I'm not sure. I would very much like it for them to bring back the directors and creatives behind the movies if they are going to reboot them and do a series. So I prefer that. Zack Cregger's Resident Evil starts filming in Prague during winter. So very interesting set location, shooting in Prague, and it being winter there. They're setting it up to be Raccoon City. But very much like The Last of Us Season 2, when they had to fight the infected during winter, this movie might have a lot more jump scares and some new interesting things we haven't seen before in the Resident Evil universe. I do want to mention, because we just had Veterans Day, the actor Gary Sinise, who infamously plays Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. He recently donated $1 million, $1 million, to transform a dilapidated church in Nashville into a housing community center for veterans. So really awesome stuff there. He also does his work every year to fly veteran children, or kids of vets, to Disneyland. So really cool guy. Like I said, Gary Sinise, Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, always doing good work. Super Mario Galaxy dropped its first teaser, really. I believe they put some of this out at CinemaCon as well, but we're now getting our first look at it. I believe Brie Larson is going to be the new princess. Let me see if I can find her name. Let's see. Super Mario Rosalina. So really interesting that we're going to get new princesses in the franchise. We're also going to get Bowser Jr., who's going to be voiced by Benny Safdie, which I don't really know who that is, but really interesting news to hear about the new Super Mario Brothers Galaxy. Bit of UFO news, guys. There was a new agency apparently taking over the UFO investigations. It turns out it's the same agency that we've thought of all along, the FBI. This is the infamous agency from the classic X-Files. Well, now they're apparently doing the work of Arrow and other agencies, intelligence gathering, trying to basically come up with the explanations for these craft. Very interesting to see the FBI is taking a lead in this, because, from classic pop culture television that we grew up on watching for years, now this is being confirmed by our military intelligence communities that the FBI is in fact leading the charge. And of course, agents like Jay Stratton, former Air Force military, he's come out saying the FBI did great work with him trying to investigate these objects, so he gives them big praise. Ericburlison talked about White House needs to absolve all NDAs for disclosure, so that recently was happening in the last few days with Dr. David Lukatsky. Also, apparently Eric Burlison wants to go with J.D. Vance, the vice president, to one of these secure facilities to check out what they have. So that's very interesting. Speaker Mike Johnson had to swear in Arizona Rep to release the Epstein files. So that recently happened in the news world. Trump went on social media basically saying there is no Epstein files, trying to debunk all of this stuff when we knew this is something he campaigned on releasing, and yet now months later he's saying there is none. USS General Ford is now in Central America. It's right off the coast of Venezuela, so a lot of people are concerned about what's going on there. Kurt Russell will return for Monarch Season 2. Like I said, there's a Monarch Season 2 trailer that just dropped, and it looks like we're going to be getting a lot more King Kong. They ended it with King Kong on Skull Island, but it looks like we're getting a lot more in the series, which is good. I mentioned Jimmy Olsen is getting a series on HBO Max, but we don't know a release date yet. But there's theories, rumors it's going to be a crime series, and potentially Gorilla Grodd could show up. Um, and then Adelina Jarvada was sworn in as the Arizona congresswoman to discharge the petition, the 218th signature. So really good stuff there. We also got Europe is facing a UFO flap. So big UFOs being seen in their area, also underwater. This isn't just the only place Europe is having. Also Asia, Central America is having these occurrences as well. They always seem to happen around the same time of the year, towards the end of the year. So we're wondering what's going on with that. And after 43 days of the government shutdown, we finally have it come back. SNAP benefits are being issued out to Americans that are in need. Rotten Tomatoes score for Stranger Things. They're saying it's the most anticipated series for November. Of course, looking at the charts right now, it seems like season 1 of Stranger Things is all the way at the bottom of the top 10 charts on Netflix, but at least it's on there. People are rewatching it. Jurassic World 5 gets greenlit by the same creative, Gareth Edwards. And it sounds like he's going to return with the cast of the last one from Rebirth. So we're going to get Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and also Blade, which was Ali. I'm not exactly sure what his name was, but let me look it up real quick. And then I'll go into some television that I watched recently. Okay, we got it right here. Mahershala Ali. Okay, so Mahershala Ali is returning, as well as Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson. We're not exactly sure what the story is after they left off the story of the last one. Possibly, a continuation there, probably. Fallout Season 2 had its trailer drop as well, so be sure to check out that. It introduced Macaulay Culkin to the franchise. Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer dropped recently, and that's marking the 20th anniversary, because it came out in 2006, and the next one isn't coming out until 2026, so it's been 20 years. And like I said, Isabellefuhrman shares update on Orphan series. So the actress that played in the Orphan movies is now coming out, and she's talking about how they're doing a third film called Orphans, which is very interesting. I think now that we're in the time of the Annabelles and all the other horror films kind of like that, maybe this Orphans movie might take off better. I know Orphan 2 took off pretty well on Paramount Plus as a streaming movie. I didn't watch it, but I heard it was pretty good as a prequel. I'm not sure how Orphans is going to fare. But with other things out like Megan, it's probably going to do pretty good. So going into some TV news that I watched, guys. I've been catching up on Ghost Adventures, the series on Discovery Plus. You can also check it out on Max, HBO Max, and I believe you can rent it on or buy the series on Prime. We're on season 28, guys. Season 28, almost 30. And I've watched up to, let's see. So I talked about the first 2 episodes, Mountains of Madness. Talked about Holidale Asylum of Hell. Now it's Hospital of the Damned. Zack and the crew gain access to a shuttered Pennsylvania CA hospital. And has to become hotbed for devil worship. Zack suspects the evil that now runs rampant through the former Catholic-run facility originated with the horrendous murder nearly 25 years ago. So this was a pretty good episode. Came out October 29th. They got some pretty good EVPs and other things in this video. Then moving on to episode 5, we've got Darkness at Belmouth Park. This just came out November 5th. So Zack and the crew investigate reports of phantom footsteps, laughter, and spiritual figures in a San Diego amusement park. The guys discover a dark cloud of death that hangs over the beloved establishment. that has entertained millions for over 100 years. So really interesting story here with this latest episode. Belmont Park. They talked about how it was built in the 1920s as a park, a really big conventional circus area for families and tourism, food. But over the years, it's been known for death. There was a sailor that climbed to the top of the roller coaster and jumped, and then there's been several homeless people found dead on the property as well. It was derelict in the 70s and 80s until it was turned into a natural or a national landmark, and then it was reopened in the 90s, and it is still open to this day. It's off the coast of San Diego. It's one of the largest amusement parks, I believe, in the East Coast. So really cool stuff there. Those 2 episodes that I watched. Be sure to like the video, comment down below if you've heard any movie news you haven't heard about already. Let me know about all the trailers that have dropped. Have you guys watched them? Be sure to support the channel by following me. You can like, subscribe, comment, all the good things down below. You can also follow me on Instagram and on TikTok at SceneScreenGuru. But until next time, guys, have a good one, and ciao.